Hello, thanks for joining in, and thanks to any replay viewers as well. I'm going to try and keep it brief today. I've been saying that with social distancing measures, lives can be saved because the curve of illness transmission could be softened and stay underneath a line that indicates healthcare system capacity. So everybody has to be worried, not just for their elderly relatives or elderly friends, because there's approximately an 8% death rate for elderly people over 70 who come into contact, who get the disease, COVID-19, which I haven't specified. But once hospitals get overwhelmed and beds fill up with people who need weeks of oxygen saturation treatment, then anybody who needs hospital treatment, pregnant women needing to give birth in a hospital, people with broken arms, people who have conditions that can usually be managed with occasional hospital visits, children who have asthma attacks, they are all going to be at risk when the hospital systems are overwhelmed, and people need to consider that. So because the federal government is not taking the measures that it needs to, some local, some state governments are taking those measures. So in Seattle today, schools are closing. Those are the only ways to slow the transmission throughout the community. But Trump is making weird speeches, and then the White House is walking back his initiatives. And those initiatives are unrelated to what actually needs to be done as dictated by experts. So you can kind of see in Trump's mannerisms and speech patterns that he's overwhelmed himself. So yes, but it's likely as well that the Trump administration were purposefully trying to infect migrants. And I say this, and I can link the article of a whistleblower from the the Department of Health and Human Services, which reported on DHHS staff being sent without protective equipment to the Travis Air Base in California. So the teams had gloves and masks at times. They lacked adequate gear and received no training. So there were CDC staff standing around in hazmat suits. I'll go to that. It was apparently being investigated by Pence, but Pence is part of the White House, and this would appear to be probably a White House initiative rather than anything just stupid or incompetent. This is an initiative to purposefully use DHS staff as if they were blankets to be infected with smallpox and given to enemies, the political enemies of Trump, or rather the political slaves of Trump, migrants that he uses to try and foment or capitalize on people's natural inclinations to blame other groups, outsiders. Outsiders, that's such a better term, because migrants is a bit of a stuffy word, and people have already got some biases there, even to the word migrants. But if I use the term outsiders, I can explain myself more clearly that Trump capitalizes on the fact that some people don't like outsiders. You can see that more in rural America. There's a stereotype there that has some basis to it, which is there's more suspicion of people who are not us, outsiders. So here we go. Let's see what you guys can see on the screen. You can see some of this footage, possibly if you're viewing on a computer. Good luck to you. I'm still reading it out loud. The whistleblower alleged that no steps were taken to quarantine, monitor, or test workers during their deployment, which included exposure to Americans returning from Wuhan, where the virus first erupted, in airplane hangars in Texas and California. The workers did not show symptoms of the virus. So California is a blue state, and Texas borders Mexico, suiting Trump's feverish rhetoric of that he habitually trots out just prior to elections of, oh, look, a caravan of people is coming to invade the US. In this case, he wants to induce enough of an outbreak in government-run detention centers that he can say the migrants are already here. The outsiders are getting us with their diseases. So yes, perhaps the whistleblower has put enough of a spoke in the wheel of this plot, just as the whistleblower put a spoke in the wheel of his attempt previously to extort the Ukrainian government into participating in a plot to fabricate lies against Joe Biden. So that didn't work. The Democratic electorate and even Republicans who are tired of Trump are fervently coalescing around support for Joe Biden and his likely running partner, Kamala Harris, because they're awesome and they have progressive goals, and it's all we'll move on to Bernie Sanders in another. I'll finish this broadcast and do a separate one on Bernie Sanders, the spoiler candidate, who helped spoil the 2016 election and possibly participated in that. But yes, I get ahead of myself. Let's return to talking about COVID and what is needed to protect communities right now. I guess I shouldn't have used the term President Chaos Agent in the title, because I need to be clear and specific about who it is that I'm blaming. But I need to let someone in as well. So I'll say goodbye. Thanks for listening. Take care.